All right, here with head coach Dave McLaughlin, heading into his 10th season as head coach here at Stonehill. Coach, obviously a great, memorable run last year and in the national semifinals. What's kind of been the, since then, looking back on it, and kind of how that's affected the team in the off season, just kind of building off that momentum.
I think you try and, as wonderful as it was, you try and move on from that as quickly as possible. I think the nice thing we had, we were able to go to Ireland on a trip with the team last May after school ended, and we were actually able to take the seniors with us. So Sean, Patrick, and Andre were able to enjoy that trip with us, and we were allowed to, at one point, kind of figure out our new group, but at the same time, have those guys be with us one more time. And I think what we told our guys heading into the summer was just to make this your best summer you've ever had. And I think we've had a collection of guys that have done that, and some young guys, incoming guys with great work ethics to combine that. And that really set the tone for a good fall for us. And I think now we know it's a new group, so as soon as we step back on campus, that's how we approached everything. Completely new group, completely new year. The league's probably different to some extent, and so it's just you have to be ready for that, and that's the way we prepare.
Talk a little bit, expand maybe on the Ireland trip. What was that, experience for the team? And I guess it's not always easy to call it team bonding because you didn't have the freshmen there, but maybe a nice cap to that year, to kind of celebrate the accomplishments of that team.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that all the guys in the program had a great experience. I mean, they were able to visit many different parts of a beautiful country, experience a lot of different parts of the culture, play some basketball, and, take a class. So there was a lot of things that they were able to do. So I think just to be able to provide them that experience, it was a good thing. Being a winter student athlete at this level, students don't get to go abroad. So you're in season from September through the end of March. So there's no opportunity to truly go abroad, like especially at Stonehill, a large percentage of students do. And this just allows them that opportunity, to do that once every 4 years with our program.
A year ago, we're sitting here, you'd lost your top three scorers from the year before. So maybe question marks internally, but certainly looking from the outside, how's Stonehill going to replace that? This year, a little bit different. You have a lot of your top scorers returning, with the exception of Patrick Lee, who's assistant coach, and Andre Tongo is playing abroad. What's kind of been? How much are you maybe ahead system-wise? Maybe what's the difference for the team as far as obviously the preseason rankings are there and the recognition that you guys deserve as from last year, but how's it different this year with so much returning?
It's not that different. You still need the preseason, and you still need early practices to figure out who you are. That's the most important thing. I think that every team is going to be different no matter who you lose, no matter the amount you lose. It's all a matter of now our seniors that are now our new seniors, are they leaders, are they stepping up? Who else has stepped up into a leadership role? Are we as competitive as we were last year? Are we, where are our execution levels? So those things, it doesn't matter how much you lose, what you lose. Those are the things that you have to figure out, that group on its own. And we're still in the process of figuring those things out. And it's a great challenge for us to be able to do that and be able to do it together. And that's what our program players and staff have been working really hard to do. In terms of preseason rankings, those mean nothing at all. We don't even talk about them at all. And in terms of anything with the league, it doesn't matter. Our league is so good that it doesn't matter where you're ranked. You're going to face quality opponents come the first league game, which is right around the corner, all the way to the last league game. There's no nights off. So in terms of those rankings, you can kind of throw those out the door. It's all about preparation levels and getting ready for the next game.
Talk about that senior class, certainly led by Brian Hammer, who's an all-league player last year, but certainly a number of other talented players. Talk about how that group's come in and how are they embracing the leadership role now? Yeah,
that's a good question. We've really pushed them, and personally I've really pushed them, and really trying to take them out of their comfort zone a little bit in terms of their leadership, in terms of how I'm coaching them on the floor. And I think that that they're taking it, and they're really trying to get better, and they want to win. I think that's the biggest thing about that group, and they know that they have to be more consistent. They know what they need to work on individually and collectively. They know they need to be leaders, not just during games, but during timeouts and halftime in the locker room. All those little things that you as a coach don't want to have to worry about. You want them to take care of. And we've been pushing to that, and I think that they've been really accepting those challenges, and getting themselves ready for our game on Saturday.
A key position with this team year in, year out is that sixth man. Last year, Adam Fazzini led the league in three-point shooting. I expect him to see more of a starting role this year. Who's that next guy? The year before it was Pat Lee, Sam Markle, whoever the year before that. Who's that guy this year?
Yeah, and it's usually before we start playing, it's never really defined. I think we're going to figure that out. And, last year with Adam, it wasn't completely defined. The year before with Brian Hammer, it wasn't completely defined. It's a matter of figuring out who we are, what our rotations look like, what we look like in a game, what we look like at the end of game in time and score situations. So that's a little bit of part of the process. We're going to figure that out, and hopefully whoever it is willing to step up and accept that role.
A couple of guys who were first year, not necessarily both freshmen. One was a freshman, Raheem May Thompson and Jack Cole, guys who made huge strides from the beginning of the year to the postseason run. How have they continued that process, and what more are you expecting from them this year?
I think the first thing is that they accepted that challenge we gave them at the beginning of the summer. They both really improved on the things they needed to improve on. At this level, we don't have a lot of contact with guys in the summer. So what you do is you give them a guideline, you let them know what they need to work on, maybe show them an extensive amount of film of them before they leave, and say, hey, this is what you need to do. Both of those guys, I think, really got that and really grasped that. And had big summers in terms of not just skill-wise, but strength-wise, conditioning. And they came back and they really attacked the preseason. And hopefully that sets a tone for, not just themselves or how they want to play, but also for our program. And hopefully we'll see that in the upcoming weeks.
Obviously, it's a process with your team. Jack Coles don't come around the corner every year. Freshmen that step right in day one start. But you do have a group of freshmen that you're excited about. How many of them, who do you see from that group necessarily stepping in right away? Not necessarily right away, but contributing right away?
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about recruiting, everyone asks you how good is your recruiting class, and I'll just say, I'll tell you when they're juniors, after they have some experience under their belt. And do I think we have a talented group? Yes. Do I think we have a tough group? I think we do. We're not going to know much about them until games start and we see them executing in games. It's one thing to execute in practice. It's one thing to compete in scrimmages, but when those lights go on and you really have to execute a game plan and do things a certain way, we'll see how that goes here in the upcoming games.
How nice is it for this program now to be established where certainly you have freshmen who have to come in and maybe contribute, like Jack provided height and a physical presence inside as a freshman, but maybe some of those guys to maybe sit and absorb it for a year, how tough this league is, and get used to it before they get thrown into the fire a little bit.
Yeah, I think no matter what, I think the most talented guys and the guys that are ready to play are going to play. I think regardless of year, but typically when you're coming from high school to the college level, the levels of physicality, the speed of the game, the transition of going from offense to defense, or certain calls, or being coached maybe at a different level, it's things you have to adapt to. And some first-year players adapt to it more quickly, some take a little longer, some aren't physically quite ready, some are more ready to take the days in and out of getting hit and the way you practice at a physical level. So it really varies, and it is good that if you happen to be deep or have some older guys where you can have a freshman kind of learn by playing and watching at the same time rather than having someone that has to play a lot of minutes. It does make a difference, and it usually helps them in their longevity of their career.
Starting on Saturday, Chestnut Hill's the team we haven't necessarily seen a lot of. What do you know about them? What are you expecting? Certainly you got a little bit of a target on your back being the defending region champs, so you're going to get their best on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I think they, from what I've seen, they're a very well-coached team. They kind of know who they are. They had a good year last year. They had 18 wins. They defeated Western Washington, who was the national champions. They took down CW Post, who was an NCAA tournament team. Bloomfield's another tournament team. They played them to a one-point game. So they play quality opponents tough, and they had a very good year. They're athletic. They're long in certain positions. They can score the ball. They have perimeter shooting. And they're a team that kind of holds you accountable and on both ends of the floor. And we have our work cut out for us. We have to be a lot of work to do in the next couple of days to be ready for this game.
Beyond that, a number of your first few games are at home. Is that going to be useful for you to get used to, have this team get used to each other, or you're hoping to use that to build and build a strong start here?
Yeah, it's nice to be at home, but it doesn't matter. You have to win at home. You have to win on the road. I think hopefully it's nice for the school where we can build a little bit of we've got a nice culture going with the fans here. Hopefully we can continue that. And for Midnight Madness, the school did such a great event, and to have the gym sold out then, hopefully some of that will carry over to our first game. But the most important thing is just getting to a routine and being ready no matter where the game's at home, on the road, wherever it might be.
All right, well, Coach, looking forward to the season, and good luck Saturday night.
Thank you very much.